JJ Solomon.
This Corey Bradshaw, Mr. RTBA, Mr. These boys can't touch me on my worst day. And this is the Spit Bucket Podcast.
It's your boy, Mr. ILTBA, Mr. 214, Senor Dos Uno Cuatro, Senor Dos Catorce, Mr. Undeniable, Mr. D Boy can't touch me.
Can't. They can't.
On my worst day, right here with my partner in crime, my dog, my brother from another, Mr. JJ Solomon. What's popping, my guy?
How are you doing tonight, sir?
Hey, man, another day, another second, another minute breathing, bro. I'm great.
Yeah, man. It's a fun time for boxing right now. All kinds of good announcements. It's fight week. Got Shakur this weekend. Bam Rodriguez this weekend. But first, man, you want to go ahead and you want me to introduce the star of the show, the guest of the hour. We have none other than rising star from Australia. She's a five-time national champion out of Australia. A bronze medalist in the 2008 Commonwealth Games, IBF, WBO, youth world champ right now. And she's just a baby. She's just getting started. So help me welcome to the show, Mrs. Taylah Robertson. How are you, ma'am?
Hey, good, thanks.
Taylah, what's popping?
I just got back into Vegas, so ready to start training again tomorrow.
So you just got back in today?
Yeah, I just flew in from New York.
Man,
we're gonna fly in yesterday. I feel bad for bugging you on a travel day.
I know, it's all good. It's all good. We've been leaving our plans to last minute and just booking as we've been going at the moment. So
this how you know it's real. You know, when someone is a real contender and they are the real deal. When they start coming to the States from training camp, especially being from across the pond. Is there some truth to that, Taylah?
Absolutely, yeah. I just feel like, especially Vegas in itself, like America, but Vegas in itself is like the capital of boxing. So I feel like if you want to hit your peak limit, you got to sort of be training with and amongst all the top level athletes at some point. So I definitely agree that it's when you start to really take it seriously and start getting it together as a career. Yeah,
no doubt. Like in the past, before we talk boxing, let's talk about like in the past week and a half, you've been in Canada, you've been in NYC, and it wasn't just a stop. I think I saw on social media you sightseeing and stuff.
Yeah.
Now you're in Vegas. Like, how would you compare New York City and Las Vegas? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
New York City was crazy busy and like really full on all the time, and actually really expensive compared to Vegas as well, I found. And I like the heat better in Vegas than New York was quite cold. So I think I definitely am, because I'm a little summer baby, I think I really enjoy Vegas more.
That makes sense.
That's cool. That's cool because I definitely enjoy Las Vegas. Me and my guy JJ Solomon, we ain't been there this year, but we made 2 appearances in Vegas last year.
Be there in 2 weeks too. Yeah, for tanking.
Okay. Well, we'll talk to that. But Taylah, you know, me doing my research on you, I was watching some interviews on you, getting to see who Miss Taylah Robertson was. You said that you started boxing between the ages of 10 and 12. But what caught my surprise was you said that you wasn't able to get you a real amateur fight until you were actually 14, and then the opponent who you faced weighed 25 kilos more than you. Now, look, I'm not going to sit up here in front of you. I don't know what's the difference in kilos. But that was interesting to me. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, it was, I was so eager to fight at the time that I just wanted to get in the ring, and she was the only girl that had weighed in that I'd ever seen at a tournament. And I just said, I want this fight. And obviously with the weight everyone was a bit iffy, but it was in like a break-off association, so they allowed the fight to happen, which I was so happy with, and I ended up getting the win. So I was like, and then after that fight, I just remembered thinking I was like unbeatable.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's big. That's a big weight difference. Kilos,
Yeah,
pounds, ounces, whatever you want to call it.
So yeah,
yeah.
how much is 25? What's 25 kilos? Like how much?
So it'd be 25 here. I'm just gonna
Yeah, I
search.
guess we could Google it, but yeah,
Yeah, I've got it
I
right
didn't know.
here.
I didn't know if you had it right off the top of your head.
No, I'm still getting used to the whole pounds and kilos. So it's 55 pounds.
Geez.
Damn.
Yeah, I was thinking
Yeah,
maybe 30, but damn,
yeah,
that's a whole child.
yeah. It was there's a photo of it. I have a photo of it. I'll send it to you guys after, and it's
Yeah, that
crazy. And it's
that
like me looking up at her like this, touching gloves.
mm. Now look, there's one thing I've like in learning about you, the biggest takeaway I take from you is you don't back down from a challenge. And like I know everybody says that in boxing, but you can literally open up social media and see people like ducking and dodging and avoiding
Yeah,
this and whatever. It seems like whether you're talking about your fight at Commonwealth, your fourth fight, we'll get into that here in a little bit. You just don't care. Like you want to take on a challenge, and it seems like it started off with your upbringing in Australia. Obviously, women's boxing has blown up in the past, let's call it
yeah,
18 months. But before that, it was hard. It still is hard, I would imagine, but it was hard, especially in Australia.
yeah.
Small little it's an isolated place. So you kind of touched on it, but talk about your entire amateur career leading up to the Commonwealth and how you kind of had to adjust to that, not finding
Yeah.
competition.
Yeah, well, when I first started, obviously, when I was 10 or 12, it was like 10, 15 years ago. So female boxing wasn't even in the Olympics when I first started boxing. But I just remembered I watched the movie $1 Million Baby, and I was
Yeah.
into all that. And there was the chick fight, and I was like, when I started boxing and realizing I was good at it, I was like, oh, I really want to go to the Olympics and win a gold medal and I want to actually do this. Then when I started weighing in at events and tournaments and stuff like that, and there was no girls, it was really disheartening. This was just like, oh, I was training with the boys all week and then going to the gym, rocking up to the tournaments to weigh in, and there was no girls that had weighed in. It was just like, oh, I'm doing all the work and not getting any of the fights under my belt. But when it finally started happening, I got just addicted to it. I won like my first 25 fights straight, and I just remembered thinking I was on a roll. And then obviously you experience your first losses as well in the amateurs, but then they sort of just drove me more to then improve and be better and not experience that feeling again. So yeah, I did all that, and then I won my first national title at 15, I think, and then
Yeah.
after that I won one like almost every year after that, as I grew older.
And then you land. Go ahead.
So tell me, Taylah, being a young lady, a beautiful young lady as you are, how
Thank you.
tough was that? How tough was that for your mother, your father, everybody surrounding you, that our beautiful little girl wants to be a boxer?
Yeah, it was hard. It still is to this day. Like, I was actually in an elevator in Vegas before my fight, leaving to go to Canada, and a lady, because I had my gym bag with me, and she asked me if I played soccer, and I was like, no, I'm a professional boxer. And she looked at me and frowned, and then she goes, you're too small and pretty to be boxing, like almost disimpressed with me. And I was like,
Just show her the videos.
yeah. She looked at me like I was just like one of those fitness influencers. I was like, no, I actually do fight. Like,
I would imagine. I mean, so with that being said, like, kind of to Corey's point, we hang out a lot with the youngsters. Corey's always saying that the youngsters are the root of the fruit. So as us being lovers of boxing, we got to shine the light on the kids. But we always what we see a lot is parents just pressuring them. You got to go do this. You got to do that. So did you get that approach from your parents, or is it kind of your choice type deal?
no, my parents, they supported it at the start. My mum did. My dad wasn't. He didn't have much involvement in it at all. But my mum, she supported at the start, but then as I started doing it for a couple of years and having like a heap of fights under my belt, she was just like, "Oh, you need to think about university, leaving school, and all that sort of stuff." And she'd be like, I kept saying to my mum, "Oh," when she'd like watch the bigger girls boxing or Million Dollar Baby, I was like, "Oh, don't worry, I will never be doing it at that level. Like it's just a hobby." And that's how I kept convincing her to do it every single year. And then when I finished school, mum was like, "You have to quit now. Like you need to go to university. You need to prioritize different things." And then I didn't listen to her. I moved out of home and became an apprentice chef and trained full time until I made the Commonwealth Games.
Wow.
And
Oh,
then,
you're a
and then I
chef?
go, yeah, apprentice chef.
Sweet.
Ooh.
This is
Nice.
my first job, proper job.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I was kind of in your situation after coming out of high school. My parents were like, "You need to go to college and a university," but except my profession was selling cell phones. Wasn't
Yeah.
quite as good as yours. Hey, but oh yeah, Corey, my bad. Did you have a question?
Oh no, you good. But I was gonna say this. We know, if anybody look up Taylah Robertson, they'll see that you are a top contender in women's boxing right now. But I want to ask you personally, Taylah, because you are the only one who know this. What age were you, and do you remember what particular fight that you told yourself, "I am the truth"?
I think I had a couple moments where it happened like that. But I think when I had qualified for the Commonwealth Games, because I was such a big underdog going into that event and I wasn't supposed to win, I'd only just turned 18, so I was only just old enough to compete, and all the people that had been to the Olympics were in my division. So I was just like,
Wow.
I had a bit of self-doubt going into the event, knowing that I was the underdog. And then when I beat everyone over the event to go to the Commonwealth Games, I think that moment I was like, I can beat anyone if I set my mind to it. That was like a moment where I really thought, oh wow, this is like I am the best. I'm going to be the champion.
And you were just a kid. You say you're 18, and
Yeah.
you were facing people with a lot of experience, well older than you. And again, to the point I made earlier, a bronze medal, that is nothing to, I mean, that's awesome. So at that point, I know you said your parents were kind of against it, but you come home with a bronze medal. How'd the tone shift, with your family?
Yeah.
Yeah. How'd that go?
They are so supportive of it now. I think now that they see that I've applied myself to something and dedicated to it, and now they watch me and they're so proud that they have a complete 180 on it. They're completely different. Now they're just my biggest fans.
That's all.
So with me paying attention to you, you are a dog. And I say that respectfully inside that ring. You have this tenacity about yourself. Now,
Thank
when
you.
you look at your mother and your father, I know you probably get things from both of them, but that dog and that tenacity, who does that come from?
My mom. Definitely my mom. She's feisty, so I think I definitely get that dog from her.
We got the clip up where look at this. It's absolutely insane. Like punched in the head, and you're just going nuts. I've always said that boxers have to be a little bit crazy to sign up to do what y'all do,
Yeah.
because that's it's an insane job from the preparation to the actual fight night. But I just want to see this again. Like, look, I mean, you're exchanging. She's punching you. You're punching her. And most people flee here, but nope, not Taylah. Taylah, you look like a madman right there, Taylah.
I feel like everyone tells me, like all the people closest to me when I'm like going into sparring, so I'm quite a relaxed person outside of the ring, and then when they watch me spar, they say that like a look overcomes my face, and I just completely change personality when they see me spar.
You have to have that. Now, I got a question for you. Like, I'm big on work-life balance, right? And I'm just over a sales dude and stuff like that. But I have a family and I have friends, and I think it's huge. I think it's important for that work-life balance.
Yeah.
Boxing, as we all know, is a lonely, lonely sport. It's a very lonely sport. But just from the outside looking in, it seems like you do a hell of a job like it seems like you have a good time when you're not boxing, but when you're boxing, you're all serious. So like, can you talk about that a little bit? Like, how do you balance that? How do you manage to just stay plugged in with your real life?
Well, I didn't have the balance. I used to, like, when I was gone for the Commonwealth Games, and even when I was 16 to 17, 18, and then till the Commonwealth Games, 19, I wouldn't drink. My 18th birthday, which is in Australia, that's the legal age to drink. I literally couldn't even eat a salad. I had like one boiled egg for dinner. So I knew I was flying to an event. I was just really strict. And then I did like a big Commonwealth Games camp where we were in the Philippines for 7 weeks, and we were doing 3 sessions a day, military style. And I just lived and breathed it. And then when I walked away with a bronze medal, the last 20 weeks to a year of my life, I had cut off most of my friends because I was too focused on training and traveling and being at boxing events every weekend. I missed out on all my family milestones, like my sister's wedding, my mum's 50th, like all the big. My sister's had a baby, missed that. Didn't see her for the first 6 months of her life. It was just like, I was like, wow. And I walked away and I didn't even win gold, and I've sacrificed so much. And then I was like, after that, I just completely shifted my perspective and was like, you know what, I can have, if I got an injury and boxing fails, I'm going to have things that will make me happy on the inside outside of boxing. So then I really started flowering my friendships and relationships whenever I possibly could, while still putting my sports first. So I was like, you know what, when I'm in camp and I focus, and that's my priority. And when I'm out of camp, I prioritize everything else. And I just fit boxing in as an active lifestyle.
Speaking of that, I want to go back to that, what you were saying. I seen when you were talking about at an amateur where you didn't have your nutrition right. Right, where you were eating a boiled egg in the morning and drinking a protein shake at night, and at the weigh-in, your people had to carry you in. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I used to make weight so bad. I used to just cut bulk amounts of water. And in the amateurs, you fight on the same day, so it's the same day weigh-in. It was just, I used to just, I don't know, I think because I was growing through puberty and stuff as well at the time, that I couldn't figure out the healthy way of making weight. And I was so young, in my head, I thought not eating means losing weight. So then I just cut food out completely, and I didn't even think of the fact that fuel fuels your body. I just thought, I'm always going to be the same fitness if I train. I'm not going to lose fitness as long as I'm training and not eating. So then I was eating like a boiled egg in the morning and a bit of salami at a hotel buffet. And then I'd sip on a protein shake through the day, have like a glass of water, and then pick a plate for dinner. And it was just horrible. And that's when I was traveling in Germany for 3 weeks. I was training 3 times a day in multi-nation camps. And that's all I was fueling myself with every single day. And I actually ended up getting like stress fractures in my bones because I wasn't feeling them enough. I became anemic, like heaps of bad problems from it. And then when I went pro, I was like, I'm going to get my nutrition down pat and talk to professionals. And ever since then, I don't even struggle to make weight.
That's good. That's good. Yeah. Kareem been telling me I need to lose some pounds. So you said it's boiled egg and protein shake is all I need to do, right?
I can tell you I eat so much more now, and it's so much easier to lose weight when I need to.
Yeah, it's science. It's
crazy, but my head at such a young age couldn't comprehend that I could eat more. It made me feel sick thinking that.
Awesome. Well, listen, we're going to take a quick break. But when we come back, I want to talk about now kind of like the road to your pro career, your trainers, all that sort of deal. So stay tuned, but let's just take a quick second. This commercial break lasts about as long as your first fight did, so stay tuned. All right.
We all have battles. We fight. We train. We work. We persevere. And we celebrate. We are all one.
can't do anything if I can't walk in my prosthetic. It's a lot of pain that I feel throughout my day. It can be very intense. Now I just put that balm over it and it will heal up much faster and it will let the callus recover. That's amazing. It is a total game changer. I am hooked. I am absolutely, I'm just hooked.
Life is hard. KO makes it better. KOCBD.com.
KOCBD.com. You guys check them out. CBD pain relief, pain recovery, pain management, anxiety, sleep, all sorts of stuff. These guys are awesome. I promise you, I use them every day. I don't leave home without it. KOCBD.com. Use the discount code TSB10. Corey, you got anything to say about these guys?
Oh no, they number one from the 2142 across the pond all the way over there in Australia. KOCBD is number one.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, we're here with Miss Taylah Robertson. Quick up and coming. You're gonna know who she is soon. But Taylah, you're coming fresh off of a fight in Canada. Your first fight in North America, is that correct? First fight stateside?
Yeah, in Toronto.
Yeah. Look like another great performance. How did you feel? How are you feeling now? How'd that go?
Yeah, I felt really good in there. I thought I won quite easily. My goal was to try and stop her. To be honest, I wanted to stop her, and I thought I had her in a couple of the rounds where I was just feeding her punches. But whenever I start to hurt her, I'd hit her with like 3, 4, 5 punches. Then she'd grab onto my arms and sort of hang on for the round. And it was just really frustrating me because I need to learn how to punch out of the clinch to keep on working her instead of letting her hang on and save herself. And that has happened to me in a few fights now, whereas if I start landing punches, I need to learn how to keep punching out of the clinches instead of letting it tie up and then buy yourself time.
So let me ask you this. You come from Australia. You're in Vegas now. Do you have the same coaches or are you working with new coaches with your old coaches?
Yeah, so we're working with new coaches with my old coach. So my coach, Glenn Azar from Australia, he's my coach of management, and he organized this trip for us to come and train here. And one of my friends, because I used to train at Colorado Springs at the Olympic Training Center, and I met Coach Kay Karoma, who also trains like Michaela Mayer, Shakur Stevens, and I just messaged him saying, hey, we're coming in, and he just let us join camps with Michaela Mayer. So Glenn is awesome, and he knows that the best coaches in the world are based over here, and he's not going to let me learning my abilities to his limits. So he said he wanted to come over with me and learn as well with me. So we came over and we joined camps with them, and we've just now sort of setting up our own little arrangement where we can come in and have Coach K as a part of our team and base most of our camps out of Vegas.
Nice. So, but Coach Glenn is still your main coach, correct?
Yeah. But he couldn't be in my corner for my fight because my fight was originally supposed to be on the 26th, but the main event broke their knuckles. So when it got moved, Glenn had already booked in a trip to Kokoda Trail because he also runs an adventure company. So because he had clients book in, he couldn't cancel. So we had to have a coach in Canada look after us.
Yeah, I thought I noticed that day shift. I thought I was just losing my mind because I was ready for it to be on a Saturday, but it was on a Friday, right?
Yeah, it was like a black tie event. It was really fancy. It was like apparently the richest people of Toronto. Just everyone was in ball gowns, and it was like a bougie event.
Yeah, I hope that's not what you're expecting out of all the fights on this side. Side of the pond. No, but
I definitely haven't.
I want to talk a little bit about Glenn, your coach. The dude, he's got his Project 180 gym. The what is it? Making better humans.
Building better humans.
Yeah, building better humans. Like,
yeah,
it seems like he's a very, very he's got the X's and O's in the game plan, but he also focuses a lot on mindset and personal development and all that sort of deal. Talk a little bit about that. That seems a little bit different than most traditional boxing gyms. So how's that working for you?
It's really good. When I first came to Glenn, it was actually to be on his podcast.
Nice.
And the more I started listening to him, he then got me a job because I was working a couple jobs before I met him, doing PTs. And then he's like, at your level, you need to be training full time. So then he hired me under his own gym, basically as a sponsorship, for a week's wage. So then he was like, I just want you to free up your time and train full time. And he did that as a sponsorship. And then when some things with my own team fell through, because my team didn't have my best interests at heart,
Man.
Glenn just looked after me as in the meantime, and then we just gelled really well. And he was not even in boxing at the time. He'd been out of boxing for 10 years. So with him, when I first met him, I'd come to all of his talks because he does public speaking and mind coaching and mentoring, youth development. And I'd come and he runs like youth programs to help the kids and stuff like that. So I'd start to come to the camps and the school talks, and he was really inspiring as a mentor. And then over the last 2 years, I've sort of had him as my own mentor, and I've watched him work with me amongst other athletes, lots of other high level athletes, and he's just changed their lives around. So
So,
ever since I've been with him, he's built me up to be a full-time sponsored athlete, got me on televised cards, got me overseas, and he's just put everything into it, which is what I needed.
Man, that's awesome.
speaking of Coach Glenn, tell me how great of a feeling that is. Because when you said Coach Glenn, he understands that, it's coaches out there who can help you. So with me looking at Coach Glenn, that showed me off top. He put his pride to the side because he has your best interest in hand.
Yeah.
Tell me how great of a feeling that is when you have a human being who has your best interest at hand and want to see you win.
It makes me feel so reassuring in my team that I can put some pressure off myself to know that I can rely on someone who isn't here for their own self-interest. So it makes my life a lot easier in training camps, and I know that I can trust in everything he's doing on his end, that I'm not stressed. So it's just made my life so much easier in this sport. So I'm very lucky because it's obviously, as you know, in the boxing game, some people don't get that.
Yeah, for sure, man. And I think it's just, again, we see trainers working their fighters out to the ground, just working the hell out of them, right? But physically, we hardly see a trainer that takes aside and works on the mental game, the emotional game. And that's
Yeah,
just as important.
Financial too, Jay.
yeah,
Financial, absolutely, absolutely, a hell of a point. And it's so, I mean, you have to have all of these check boxes if you really want to get to that next level. And Taylah, like, I was going to wait for the end to tell you this, but look, you're 24, right?
yeah,
You're up,
yeah,
you're at a prime age. Women's boxing is booming. Australian boxing is booming. Like, how excited are you? No, I mean, there's a lot of element of luck too in this game, like timing and
yeah.
all that sort of deal. It seems like you're in a prime time where if you do what you're supposed to do, everything around you could really fall in place. How does that
Yeah.
feel for you?
Honestly, I'm just excited. I've just got this fire in my belly at the moment, and I just want to keep improving. First of all, I never want to stop learning because I always want to be a student to the sport, and then I just want to continuously get better to the point where I know every time I step in that ring, there's nobody in front of me who's gonna beat me.
Hell yeah.
So Taylor, with you saying that, tell me how much greater of an experience has it been for you coming to Las Vegas, being around the likes of Michaela Mayer and her coach. Do you think that was the mustard seed that's going to help you get to that title and win that
Yeah.
title?
Absolutely. I think it's shown me the professionalism they have in their team and how much I love that. I also, the technical aspects that, for instance, like Coach Al and Coach K have, it's just that they see things and they're such basic, small, fundamental things that you forget over time. And when they remind you, it makes a world of difference. And it'll be something as simple as leaning more back on your back foot, something real small, like you need to put more pressure on your back foot, or you need to keep on the ball of your foot more, or you need to, um, when you're throwing jabs, they'll tighten up small things that make such a big difference in the ring that like I knew I was like leaning over my punches too much constantly, and I couldn't figure out how to pull back and start sitting back a bit more and sitting on my punches instead of leaning over my front foot. And he's like, "Oh, you need to then," and he showed me a small movement, and then I started doing it. I was like, and
Wow.
I couldn't figure those movements out without I think their experience in the sport.
Well, yeah, and listen, my favorite thing you said thus far today, when we were talking about your last fight, you said, I need to learn how to punch out of clinches. So that tells me
Yeah,
that you've had a hell of an amateur career. You're
yeah,
already shooting, you're tracking for some good success, but you still understand that there's still elements of the game you need to learn, the tiniest little
yeah.
element. Go
All
on
the
that note.
1%.
We're going to shoot this back to 3 years ago, but this is the first fight in your professional career. This was a 56-second fight. Tell us what's going on. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, we can hear you, Jay.
What's going on in your mind right here? And then watching this back, like, would you consider yourself a much improved fighter at this point? Oh, look at this swag. What's going on in your mind right here? How nervous are you for this being your first pro fight?
Oh, I was so nervous for my first pro fight. It was just more of the fear of the unknown. Like, it's
Yeah.
not so different how many rounds I had to do and the small gloves, the no headgear. And I was like, what if I always sometimes with the self-belief put myself in like the situations that are my hardest ever fights. And then I put myself in that situation for like a brief moment and then I pull myself out of it really quickly. But I just was constantly for my first pro fight going through all those nerves of imagine if the worst thing could have happened in this fight, you know? Because it's boxing and one punch can change anything.
Absolutely.
But
So
I also find that good because I think if you're not nervous, you don't care enough about the outcome.
yeah, for sure. And it's a balance. Again, we are talking about earlier. It's a balance to everything. It's normal to feel nerves, but it's also like how do you respond to it? How do you respond to
Yeah.
it? You know what I mean? It's normal
Yeah.
to get angry. How do you respond to the anger? So but looking back at that fight, so with you making these technical changes to your game, I know we only had a minute's worth, but do you see things like, oh, I should have done this different?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, shortened up and sat down more and chopped shorter punches instead of whipping them out and getting excited. Yeah, there's so many now that I've been in the pros for a while and I'm like learning from so many different athletes and I've fought on some really good cards now and I've watched all in the boxing gyms. I've watched like the Tank and all them and there's just so much more to learn still. It's just like a never-ending game. And it's like not just learning, it's becoming muscle memory. So then you're not thinking about it just naturally happening in fights. And that takes a while, like so much repetition.
So, like JJ stated earlier, we wouldn't say it's luck. We just say you're in a good place right now,
Absolutely.
being in Australia with the success that's going on. Now,
Yeah.
as good as an amateur career as you had, a great pro career you're having so far, like JJ say, you're a rising star, not only for your country of Australia, but to the States, right? So tell me, how do you handle the pressure with that weight on you, knowing that you are a female fighter and you're probably the highest touted female fighter out of Australia right now? Tell me about the pressure and how do you contain it?
Well, I feel like diamonds are made under pressure. I feel like I definitely have those days where I feel like the chest on my plate, like shit, like I have a lot on the line here. I've got my reputation, my livelihood, my everything I've worked for 15 years and dedicated myself and applied myself to is always on the line. But I feel like if it's not on the line, I don't perform the same either. I feel like I rise to the standard of every occasion that I have to go to, and when I take the bigger fights, I fight better. I fight my best, and the pressure that gets to me, I think I fuel into the way I perform. Sometimes if I'm too relaxed and I know I'm fighting someone who like if it's for instance just a little spar in a shed and no one's coming, I won't switch on for it. Sometimes, not all the time, but I'll just not switch on. Whereas when the pressure's on me, I think when there's more at stake and there's risks involved and all that kind of stuff, I think I rise to a standard that sometimes I don't even know I have.
For sure. Now I know we have a few minutes left, and again, thank you so much for being here. We'll start wrapping up, but a few things I want to get to, and I think this is a huge part of boxing life is adversity, right? You were thrown in there, you in your fourth fight, right? With Shannon O'Connell.
Yeah, yeah.
And Shannon O'Connell, no, she's not some prospect. She's not some first professional fight. She was super experienced, bigger. I think I read somewhere that Coach Glenn took some of the blame for throwing you in there for that loss. But look, let's be honest. A loss at this point of your career is not gonna, it's not gonna shatter you. You had your moments. It was a split decision loss.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, though, it was still a loss. Tell us a little bit about how that felt, how you responded, and how you picked yourself back up.
Yeah. Look, it was the fight itself obviously had so much controversy towards it, as every fight with Shannon O'Connell does have.
For sure.
But she we didn't ask for the fight. We got called and I didn't even blink. I said, "Yep, let's take it." And then after that, she pulled out 4 times. First time she pulled out because they put my shoulder in front of hers on the poster. Second time she said that they tried to make me look prettier than her on the poster. The third time was because it was a known fact she was on steroids at the time, because she'd had a kid, and there's photos circulating. There's it's a big talk around. If you look at her there, yeah.
Yeah, man. Come on.
So it was just everyone, her 2 fights before that, they'd requested drug testing and she refused. I requested drug testing and she pulled out because I asked for drug testing. And then my coach put up a status saying, looking for the laws around drug testing, because we wanted to enforce the drug testing in the fight. And she then called the promoter crying, saying they're accusing me of this, and then pulled out again. And then 5 minutes before the fight, she pulled out because of the gloves I was wearing, which were pre-approved. So then I had to change gloves right before I was leaving the ring, or she wouldn't come to the ring. It was just the worst experience ever having to fight her. And she was just bagging me out. But then when we were in the fight, I remember every single round, I came back in the first round, felt fine. And he was like, "How does she feel?" I was like, "I'm fine. It's nothing." I was smiling at her in the ring. I made her miss and fall over heaps. To be honest, every single round I was in, I just felt really comfortable. I felt like I didn't want to leave. I was, "Oh, this is fun." I feel like I'm just playing with her. I probably could have picked it up a gear. I definitely could have picked it up a gear, but my whole game plan for the fight, because she is known to be so strong and she's bigger than me, was to not be engaged in a dogfight. I just wanted to outbox her and from the outside. So we sort of went in the game plan and said, score my punches and get out. Don't take silly risks so early in my career with someone who's got a world of experience on me. So I was like, okay. And then at the end, I was like, oh, I felt like I won. I didn't feel rattled once. So I was a bit shocked when she got the win, but then I've watched the fight back since then, and saw a lot of the clinches and holds. And once again, what I'm not very good at, the clinching and holding, she did look like she could have stolen a heap of rounds with those inside punches. So you can't be. I'm never going to be a sore loser, and I can always accept that. If you leave things too close, it can go anyway.
Now I know we only got a few minutes left with you, and I know we want to ask you about some big fights that's going on. I want to ask you this first, because like I said, you got y'all shining over there in Australia right now. Big dog salute to y'all. I know you spoke of how you and Liam, y'all have a good relationship. The rising boxer over there, Liam, who just fought previously, got a
Liam Wilson.
Yeah, Liam Wilson.
Yeah, yeah.
So are you cool with Tim Tszyu? Are you cool with
Cambosos, Ebony Bridges,
Ebony Bridges? Or do you have a relationship with them fighters in Australia?
I don't have a relationship with Tim Tszyu, though he's done amazing recently.
Yeah.
Me and Ebony Bridges have a relationship. We became sort of friends out of our mutual dislike to Shannon O'Connell. I helped her out in the fight preparation for that fight. We were texting each other and we were sending each other screenshots of her steroid photos and
Yeah.
and we're always having a laugh about all that. So me and her are friends. Me and Liam Wilson, we went to Commonwealth Games together, and George Kambosos, I was lucky enough to fight on his last card. I was
Yeah.
second last card. So I have small relationships with those guys. Probably the most I'd have one with Ebony Bridges though.
So you were 100% Team Ebony when Ebony got
Yeah.
that dub. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
I
And
think
she did it so well too. Like she did it.
honestly, I don't want to say she's surprised. She keeps surprising me. Honestly, Ebony
Yeah.
keeps surprising me.
She
Every time
definitely does.
yeah, and she looked damn good. That's
Yeah.
probably the fight where she shut me up because she looked damn good.
Yeah.
Before we go, we saw a couple cool pictures with you. We saw a picture with you and Mr. Tank Davis. So we're going to get some predictions from you. Big fight coming up in 2 weeks. What are your thoughts on Tank and Ryan?
I think I think Tank's gonna win, but I think it's still gonna come down to whoever wants it more. I just think his power is a little bit too strong, I think. I know he's been my favorite fighter for a long time now. But that photo's got a funny story. Because I went up to him in the gym because we were training in the same gym, and I just said, "Hey, Tank," and like he's got his bodyguards and all that because he's pretty up. I was like, "Can I get a photo with you?" And he literally just stared at me like this. And then, if you can tell in the photo, when I got the photo, he just looked at the camera for a second, and then I was like, after everyone, I was like, I don't feel like he was that like. Obviously, he's in camp, and they're like, no, he doesn't like white people. I was like, oh damn.
Oh shit! Yeah. He doesn't like white people. He's gotta light himself. That's
he said that. But okay, another big fight. Now,
yeah, Bill.
go ahead,
I'm a big Devin
go ahead.
fan.
No, go ahead, Jay. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say. So we obviously got Haney Loma. I was creeping on your social media. I see a picture with you and Bill.
Yeah.
You can't answer whoever wants it more for this one. All right.
No.
Who's going to win between Devin Haney and Lomachenko?
I think Haney's going to be too big and his IQ is really awkward, and I think he'll maintain that distance from Loma. I feel like Haney will win. I'm also a big fan of Loma too, but I just think the youth on Haney's side as well, like Loma's prime is a bit out. So I think maybe it could go to Haney, but in saying that, I'd never count out Loma either. He's a dark horse always, no matter what fight he's in.
Hey, Jay, didn't you say she had another picture with someone else?
I got this one.
Yeah,
go ahead,
awesome.
Jay. Go ahead, Jay.
No, you correct.
No, go ahead, Jay. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say we're hearing rumors. The Spencer Crawford. I want her to hear your perspective on this.
No. No, because I want to ask
out of time.
You can get that one out the way first because I want to ask her about another one.
Okay, yeah, but Spence Crawford, Taylor, before we wrap up, what's your thoughts on that?
I want the fight to happen. I want it to happen. Yeah, I want it to, yeah. But Crawford was awesome. He was so freaking nice. So raps to him. He was a great person in real life.
So no official pick? No pick from Taylor?
Oh, Crawford.
Bud Crawford.
Why? Crawford. Why though? Why Crawford? Why Crawford?
Probably the only real defining factor for me is because I followed more of his career than Spence. I haven't actually followed his career a great deal to have a educated opinion on how he fights, but I've watched a fair few of Crawford's fights, and he seems quite strong. So obviously, it's not an educated of opinion when I don't know the two sides, but I know Crawford, so I've just been following him.
And my last one, I wanted to ask you because this is your country, man. One thing I got to give Zoo his credit. You know, I got to give him his credit. I thought Tony Harrison, was going to go in there and put a boxing clinic on Zoo. Because Zoo has never been, on that level like that.
Yeah.
But I saying down here in Texas, we say the stars at night are big and bright, deep in the heart of Texas. And he signed that night. Now, you got Tim Zoo versus Jamal Charlo coming up for Undisputed.
You know
What's your
what?
pick on it?
A fight ago, I would have probably said Jamal Charlo. I'm always going to back an Aussie over anyone, but I did definitely believe, even before the Harrison fight, I thought there's no way that Tim could beat Jamal Charlo. He's a monster. But now that I've seen that fight, I'm like, it's
a lot closer.
I think Tim Zoo can pull off an upset, to be honest. I think he's just got that warrior in him to pull off an upset. I feel like Jamal Charlo maybe has been at the top and he's reaping in all the money and all that kind of stuff, and you can maybe get complacent. And I think
That's true.
Tim is hungry right now, and he's just training, living and breathing boxing from what I can see. And he finished his fight, and I watched his stories. He was running like a 10K run the next day.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, the dude's a monster.
Yeah, he's like on holidays, but it's like a Fitspo holiday. So I don't know. Only recently my mind shifted, and now I'm like, oh, he just seems so dominant against Harrison.
Yeah.
It wasn't even close.
Oh, yeah, no, you're right. Tim a real player. Like, this is a fight now. I mean, I tend to favor Jamal Charlo because, he been on top, and Tim Tszyu is going to have to show me, he the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yeah.
But it's closer now than I wouldn't be surprised if Tszyu pull this out.
Yeah.
Absolutely. A lot of factors, like you said, and it's the hand injury. Maybe Tim's working a little bit harder because
he's fighting actively at the moment.
Yeah, so there's a lot of factors, but Tim definitely tightened up those predictions and the Vegas odds. And
pre Harrison fight, I kind of thought what you guys thought, and thought he hasn't faced the same opposition before as Harrison, where I thought it was going to be a much closer fight than what it actually was. So.
Well, Ms. Robertson, we won't keep you anymore. You're in Vegas. I know there's a lot of cooler things to see than our two big heads. So
thank you guys for having me so much.
We appreciate you. We ask that you don't forget about the Spit Bucket once you add to the belt collection.
Yeah,
we would love to have you back.
Absolutely.
Hey, Taylah, man, thank you so much. Like, you were such a wonderful interview tonight. The way you broke down boxing and the way you just broke down everything we talked about tonight. Kudos to you, and we cheering her for you on the Spit Bucket podcast.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Much luck to you and your career, man. We talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye-bye. Corey, let's take a quick break, man, and let's come back and let's wrap this up. Unless you want to talk some more cheesy.
Third. We can come back and talk a little bit more.
All right, bro. Stay tuned.
All right, listen up, guys. We're calling all Little League coaches. We're calling all middle school coaches, calling all high school coaches. We're calling out all those team mamas. If you need team uniforms, if you need jerseys, accessories, whatever gear you're looking for the team, please check out our friends over at Elite Sportswear. These guys do it all, and they do it great. So if you're needing a brand new look for the younger athletes, for the teams, do me a favor, trust us with Elite Sportswear. These guys do all of our gear here at Spit Bucket Podcast, hats, shirts, hoodies. We could not be more pleased with them. So check them out over at thebetteruniform.com. You can find them on Facebook at The Better Uniform or on Instagram, Elite Sportswear 17. That's Elite Sportswear 17 on Instagram. Again, if you want your team looking super fly on game days, do yourself a favor, do the squad a favor. Call Roderick and the team over to Elite Sportswear ASAP. Let them know the Spit Bucket Podcast sent you.
Correct.
Hey, man. Shout out to Taylah Robertson, man.
Yeah, man.
Oh, man, Jay. Bro, if anybody don't know who she is, please go look her up now. And the little clip we showed y'all, she showed y'all that she is a dog. She's technically sound, and she can fight her ass off.
She knows.
JJ, go ahead.
No, I want to hear you.
No, I said she could fight her ass off. Like, the one thing that I like about her, right? Not only do she have the qualities where she could fight her ass off, not only is she entertaining when she talk publicly, like she was on our show tonight, the Spit Bucket Podcast, she is also a beautiful, beautiful woman. And when you have them three things, that's superstar. Hey, JJ Solomon, Jose Jr., superstar. If she keep doing what she doing and winning, she got the three elements to take her to the upper room and beyond.
Absolutely, dog. Like, usually you'll have somebody who's got personality but don't have the tools for the ring or this and that. If I'm a promoter and I'm seeing Taylah in front of the camera, I'm seeing Taylah, her personality, but most importantly, I'm seeing Taylah in the ring, dog. Like, she's got superstar written all over her, dog. And so I'm glad we had her on, man.
And Jay, you could see the meanness in her
Yeah,
too.
dude.
Hey Jay, like you can really see the mean streak in her when you talking to her. Yeah, pretty. Yes, she is, but you can see the mean streak in her. Jay, I can't wait for her to get one of these fights to where they have a press conference and these girls. I can't wait for that. Like she on her way, dog. Big dog salute.
Big dog salute. Corey. We'll wrap it up here, man. But we got to talk about real quick. We have it's fight week, and we may not have an opportunity for it's just me and you. So, let's just talk about the two main events. One Shakur Stevenson, one Bam Rodriguez, two future stars, man. What are your thoughts about fight week, dog?
Oh, I'm excited, man. You got two of the young best fighters.
And Sebastian Fundora. My bad. I forgot about him.
Oh, well, yeah, forgot about that. I'm definitely excited because, especially about Sebastian Fundora, CJJ. This is my thing right here, and Shakur Stevenson, because I put up a picture today of when I first met Shakur Stevenson 4 years ago, right, and Bam Rodriguez, right, because I done met him too. This is a thing what I like about when you got the young best fighters in the world right there. When you meet these person in real life, they perceive that they ain't the arrogant individuals like she said about like a guy like Gervonta Davis. She said, "Hey Tank, can you take a picture with me?" He just looking like move face. Well, that's another thing. But when you got these three, when you got these three young best fighters who coming up on the grand stage that they're from the fight on, dude, I'm super excited, especially being here from the great state of Texas. I'm not from San Antonio, but I'm from Dallas, and when somebody from Texas fight, you can't help but to root for them, even though we're going to give our honest opinion if we're going to think they're going to win or not. But I'm so excited about Bam Rodriguez, what he's doing for that community in San Antonio, what he's doing for the state of Texas by putting us on the map with his fighting skills. I'm excited about that. I'm excited about Sebastian Fundora because he's steady working his way up the ladder, JJ, where like after this fight, it's going to be no doubt that he's going to be a contender to get one of them belts. I'm excited about that. And I'm definitely excited about Shakur Stevenson, your creme de la creme, when it comes to the young best fighter. Like he's one of my creme de la creme. But like I say, like this dude right here is awesome, right? Like when Shakur Stevenson step into a ring, it's artistry at its finest, bro. And like what this dude is doing right now and been doing in the sport of boxing, and if he could continue to stay focused, like this dude is next level type when it comes to Shakur Stevenson. So I'm super excited.
Yeah, bro, no doubt, man. It's a loaded weekend. It's a loaded weekend with like future household names. Shakur's probably already there, but Bam, I believe future pound for pound star. Sebastian, and look, I'm gonna be real, and this is no knock on Sebastian. This is just my little peon opinion. I like what I see thus far. I'm just honestly afraid of for him, like his body style. He's tall and skinny, man. I feel like somebody could break him down. Sebastian, though, has continued to prove me wrong. And I keep getting more and more impressed with him every time he fights. So I'm excited to see Sebastian continue to make his claim as a real presence at 154. I'm excited to see Bam Rodriguez continue to dominate. I think the world of that guy. I think his future is bright. A lot of people talk Mexican style. This dude's got skills too, man. He's not just going in there closing his eyes and swinging and getting hit. And then, of course, my boy, Shakur Stevenson, dog. You can't touch him. Like right now, he's got the lowest. Like you can't touch him, but fighters can't hit him. His offense is great. His style is great. I think Shakur Stevenson is the future, bro. And when I say the future, I think one day Canelo Alvarez is going to hand that pay-per-view torch right over to him.
Oh,
that's what I see.
I mean, do he got the skills to pay the bills? Absolutely. But when it comes to that, like star, like superstar, like I don't think he got that Gervonta Davis effect. I don't even think he got the Devin Haney effect. Like with his fighting skills, absolutely. Absolutely, but I think it's going to be tough for Shakur, to become that superstar if he don't get one of them guys in the fight. And we know with Devin Haney, if he win this fight against Lomachenko, we know he's going up to 140, unless only if Gervonta Davis or Tank Day or Ryan Garcia, they want to fight him.
You don't think Shakur? You don't think of Shakur? You don't think you see Shakur versus Devin?
Not at 135. No.
You don't see it happen anytime soon.
No, because the thing is, Shakur said it himself. He say it's going to be a high skill level fight. We know Devin Haney having trouble making the weight at 135. He's been there his entire career. So I think, honestly, Shakur Stevenson to be the more healthier fighter coming into the fight. And I think Devin Haney will want to be on that same level going into the fight, not having to struggle to make 135, being able to make weight comfortably. So I don't see them fighting until 140, possibly 147.
I like the Top Rank connection, but we'll see what happens, dog. But look,
I don't know about the Top Rank connection because if you scrolling up your articles, you see Bill Haney and them, they say it's a business, they say it's about independence.
Yeah, free agency. So
this their last fight with Top Rank.
Yeah.
Like if it's all about the money. So if Bob Arum, he gonna have to come with that bag. You know what? I see Devin Haney going back with DAZN and Matchroom Boxing.
Do you?
You know why I see that? Because when Devin Haney was first on the rise, Jay, nobody really wanted to give him opportunity. Or if they was trying to lowball him because if we're gonna be honest, he wasn't who he thought he was yet, but he was a name. Eddie Hearn, he took that risk, Devin Haney, built him up. Devin Haney shook his hand, say, "Hey, I appreciate you, but if you care about my career, let me go over here, sign with Top Rank, get this belt, and in the future, whoop-de-whoop." So I truly see Devin Haney going back to Matchroom Boxing next.
We'll see, dog. And listen, I don't have a problem with it. Again, I think Haney's working his career beautifully. He's making the right moves. The big boxing fan of me would love to see him versus Shakur, man. But dog, I'm gonna have to wrap it up. We about to have a house full, man. We got a big event coming up. Or I told you, I'll tell you guys about my wife found out she had a brother, thanks to the folks at 23andMe. And this weekend he gets to meet the family. So we're prepping. My father-in-law's about to get here. So we're about to have a house full, bro. But just wanted to make an announcement. You guys, tomorrow at 2:00 p.m., we will have heavyweight contender. He's been in there with everybody. WBC silver champ. He's been in there with everybody. Carlos Takam. He'll be on the show tomorrow. He's got a big announcement. And also, he's a star of the upcoming movie, George Foreman. Yeah. He plays Joe Frazier. So we will have him on the show tomorrow at 2:00. Also, we'll be on the round table tomorrow with D-Style Boxing. Y'all look him up on YouTube. We'll be on there within the ring with Christine. I forget who else is going to be on there. So it'll be a cool panel tomorrow evening. But Corey, anything you want to do to close out, bro? I appreciate you, man.
Hey, man. Shout out to everybody on here from the 2142 across the pond. Shout out to my dog, JJ Solomon. Shout out to the whole Solomon family. You know what I'm saying? I hope y'all have a great time tonight. We just appreciate everybody on here who support the Spit Bucket podcast. Please, if you ain't hit that like button, hit that like button. Please, if you ain't hit that share button, hit that share button. Please. If y'all ain't subscribed, please subscribe. And do me one more thing. Tell a friend.
Tell a friend. We would really appreciate it. Shout out to our sponsors, KO CBD, Elite Sportswear. And once again, much, much, much thanks and shout out and salute and appreciation for Miss Taylah Robertson. If you guys haven't watced her, keep your eyes on her. She's got a bright, bright future. She'll be a superstar before you know it. But all right, Corey, you have a wonderful night, man. Give the family a big hug for me, and we will talk tomorrow, dog.
You know how we coming.
There we go.
This is JJ Solomon.
This Corey Bradshaw, Mr. RTBA. Mr. These boys can't touch me on my worst day. this is the Spit Bucket Podcast.